said at the close of the last video on my truck rack install from the Racket people from Shingle Springs, California, I said I was going to bring the Nymph back in and redo the wheels. At the one time in one of those early videos on the Nymph building, and I showed you that arc, that half circle thing I'd made that I was going to set in front of the seat. Well, that was before I had the brain fart about the wheels for the daggerboard trunk. So that came about as a pretty doggone good idea. So now we're going to make the baby brother. And you can see I've got the cutout already made, and I've shaped. I told you on that last one I should have beveled it more, which I've done. I needed to repaint the end, but I may or may not ever get around to it. Quit cutting my head off. So I've got that, and I've got it beveled a little more. I think I show some markings here. I'm going to taper it a little more to make it slide in a little easier. And it's a 2x4, and it's what, 18 inches long, and I've got a cutout that's 8 inches deep. So this will be about the same as the height as the other one was. Maybe a little shorter, about an inch or two shorter on top here. And I got another plate just for trial and error. And on this one, remember I said on that last one I had drilled the original hole for that small fiberglass rod, which I found was too flexible. So then I took the end off of a paint roller cage, and then I found this cheap one at my hardware store. I do it for $1.90, and so I cut off this, and I was able to knock out the. There's any sunlight showing through here. Yeah, there you go. I was able to knock out the pin inside. So what we're going to do, and I got a big long bolt here and a washer, so we're going to stick it through like that, like this, and then I've got some holes drilled here, one for the bolt and two for these spikes. So it's going to go in like that, and then there's going to be this long 1/4-20 bolt on the other side here. That's going to go through and tie it all together. So that'll come up after I get some of the other things done. But right now what I want to do is I want to make the trunk a baby daggerboard trunk. That'll be about so high. The seat for the Nymph is about that high. So I'm going to make a little baby trunk, and I've got some. I was going to do a real fancy thing. I had a thing that would fit over the trunk, and then I was going to do some other padding and then roll some glass around it and do some other fancy tricks, but that's only for my own edification. And it's it's one of those things that, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but we're going to go back to the way I normally do it with, I've got a piece of wood that'll go on the front. I got to cut it down to the sides, and then there'll be a piece of plywood on the sides, and then I'll glass the interior, and then I'll show you how to get that the way I normally build my dagger boards. And then we'll bring the boat in and cut a hole in the bottom of it, and then the hole in the seat on the back edge. This thing is so small, and the seat has an angle that's almost vertical, so I'm going to set it in a little bit like that. So most of it will be inside the seat, but I'll be able to, the seat's not that deep, so I'll be able to reach through on the inside to put some sealer on the bottom and up the sides, maybe. But I'm going to definitely have a good fillet on the outside, and maybe some layer glass tape going up and down the sides of the seat, just to give it a little extra resistance to pounding from below, and oscillations from side to side on the bottom. So it'll be pretty strong even if I go a light mode. So let me go ahead and cut out this guy down to size. This is an old piece of fur, and use on the ends, and then we'll come back when I have that done and laid out and then we'll cut out the two sides. I got some 1/4 inch scrap that we'll cut the sides with, and then we'll go on with the glassing on the interior. And before I get into the other stuff, I wanted to, as I alluded to, I had finished some more of the, on the blade work. I've wrapped the ends on the handle parts with two full wraps, because I knew the last time that on this size of dowling, 2 full wraps will give me a nice tight fit, give me something to sand down to get the inside the tube. And I did the same thing on both of the blades. So, and then when I get around to doing the glass on the inside of the baby daggerboard trunk, I will mix up some, I have some colloidal silica that I'm going to mix with the epoxy for a weave fill, and I'm going to do the blades at the same time I'm doing that, so I'll just make up one mix at a time. So we'll get back to it. So let me go back, get the bandsaw out and cut out the ends on the baby daggerboard trunk. I cut out some cardboard for the top and the bottom, see down here, to give me the idea of, you know, the thickness of the glass plus a little bit. And I also cut these out 1.25 inches wide by 1 inch deep. So they'll go in like that. So I'll have 1.25 inches width this way and only 1 inch in here. And looks like I'm going to have 6 inches, be a good width, and I can still, you know, get the board in and out. It'll be a little loose, but you want it to be able to go in and out easily when you're holding the end of the boat up. You don't want to be hanging there for a long time. So that shall do. I'm going to go ahead and cut out a couple more. I'm hoping this scrap would work, but it's too small. I've got some other over here that I'll use. So let me go ahead and cut those 2 side pieces out and get those mounted. Well, I've got the side pieces and the end pieces cut out, and that'll give me, you can see the, well, maybe not around in here. There. You can see how much wiggle room I've got, which is, glass is going to take up some, but I don't want to make it so tight that it's hard to get in and out. You can make it a little tighter. It's these 8 by what? 8.5 by 5 3/4 on a 2x4. So let me make a cap on it now, and we'll get ready to do some assembly work. Well, we've got our little box made, and now I'll go ahead. I'm going to put a couple stainless screws on each side near the top and the bottom just to hold it in place while the epoxy sets. I'll countersink them flush because these will get rounded over, and then a layer of tape, I think maybe 3-inch tape, might be able to go across just one layer of tape all the way around. We'll see what happens. And it also helps to have a good line, so I'm going to mark 1/2 inch line down on each side. And like I've said before, I've got a notch right there. I can set my pencil in. I've got my 2 lines that will go on my screws. So I'm going to go ahead and line these up and get them drilled. So I got my 1/2 inch line in, and then I got 1/2 inch from each end, and then split the difference in the middle. And I'm going to just use number 6 stainless. And this drill bit's got a countersink into it so I can get the heads in flush. go ahead and do that all the way around. I'm probably going to put a couple screws in it now just to hold everything in place as I do the rest of the board. I got out a piece of junk scrap 3-inch tape and folded over. It covers up both of the hole lines. I need to get some more anyway, so I may just do 3-inch tape. But before I did that, I got to put it all together and round over the edges. Remember, you want any edge glass goes over to be rounded so it can form and it won't lift on you. So that's one thing I'll think about. And I've got it done. I've got my holes drilled. And I got our baby daggerboard trunk here. Let's zoom out. Back here, so that's tight enough. It'll be a little wiggle around, but it'll make it easy to get in and out. And the glass will take up some of the room. Let me take it apart and glass. One side will get glued in, and then this will be the free side, and then we'll glass in here, but we'll get to that when we come to it. Well, I mixed up a little gel magic here. Hopefully I mixed up enough. I can always add more. I got a new squeegee here. Yeah, plenty. And if you're going to have any squeeze out, put extra along the inside here. I may put a bead on the inside anyway. This will be the side that gets the glass on that, but I wanted to leave the other plate in here to hold it. And I also, you can see those lines. I drew some lines down the side to match up to be sure that they're lined up correctly. So that's a 4. So we'll go ahead and screw this in place. I'll let that set for tonight. And this is, remember, it's a gap filling epoxy, gel magic especially. And so we don't want to squeeze it down too tight. A little bit of squeeze out, but that's just, you're just losing epoxy then. I'll go ahead and tighten these down off camera. I'll come back and show you what I got for squeeze out on the inside. Okay, if you can see this or not, got a little bit of bleed out along in here on both sides, a little squeeze out, and you probably can't see it down. Let's see, it'd be, I don't know if you can see it in there or not. There's a little bit of bleed out on, or squeeze out continuously along the seam, which is good. Now I'll let that cure overnight, and we'll come back tomorrow and take this plate off, and then we'll glass the insides.